Good Wednesday morning. We are back at home in the studio, and for me, it feels like I haven't been here in forever with a vacation week last week and then 2 days out at camp, so I am comfortable. I am happy to be back in the friendly confines of the Boomer and Geo studio, and I do feel like we might have been a little bit of bad luck yesterday at Jets camp, and the Hard Knocks episode was another good one. I really enjoyed it, but two things happened after we talked to two guys yesterday that we might be the Maloik. One, Elijah Vera-Tucker, who is sitting next to us, and I stand up and I put my arm around him. We were comparing sizes because I was a guard at one point in my life. He has an ankle injury sometime after that interview, I guess, because he looked totally fine when he was with us. I don't know when that happened. And then Aaron Rodgers goes out after we talked to him and has the worst day he's had as a Jet at practice this year. Now, I'm blaming the traffic on that one. That, to me, was all about the traffic. But I'm afraid that we had some negative juju in that building yesterday. Boomer, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. I'm doing great. When Aaron got in there, you could just tell that he was just annoyed. He was annoyed at the traffic. He was tired.
Yep.
He looked a little worn out to me, and it's probably just – and watching a Hard Knocks episode 2 last night, you feel like – he's got a lot of crap going on. He has got a lot on his plate just with the football stuff. I mean, the Hard Knocks thing, that's just cameras and they're guys that seem to be having fun with it and everything else. I just think he's got a lot on his plate. There's a lot of expectation. You can feel it. You can feel it in the building over there. You could feel it when you're out and you're talking to Jet fans. I was playing golf yesterday after we got done, and I was playing, with a buddy of mine who's a huge Jet fan, and that's all anybody's talking about. Everywhere you go is Jets, 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 and Aaron Rodgers, and and he's soaking it all in. And I would be doing the same thing if I were him. But ultimately, it's going to come down to that, that opening night against Buffalo, and it's going to be real. And all of this great feeling and all this stuff around him, is got to perform on the field. It's got to show itself on the field, and hopefully they get off to a good start. But I saw a guy yesterday that was a little annoyed. Traffic, tired, annoyed at everything else that's going on. Cameras, mics in his face. It's probably about the 1,000th interview he's done since he's become a Jet quarterback.
Right, of course. It's funny, though, because all these other times that I've seen him, he's been pretty much zen, and he's been kind of calm, and he's doing all these things that you would expect from a guy who's on a spiritual journey. And then the tri-state area traffic kicks him right in the nuts, and all that's out the window. I mean, this is a guy.
It's all of us, man.
This is how bad commuting around here is. That this is a man who has gone to Costa Rica. He has gone all over the place, all over the world. Peru. He's gone to. Yes. He has done ayahuasca. He has done all sorts of these mind-opening things that are legal in some places. And to find himself on a spiritual journey, and he has found this is who he is. He is confident in who he is. Everything is calm and zen. And then 3 overturned tractor trailers get a hold of him, and all of it goes right down the window. Completely pissed off.
Yes.
That's what this place will do to you, man.
It does, yes.
I
know I was listening to the traffic report out by you this morning.
Oh, God.
I mean, there were all sorts of things going on out there.
Yeah. I had to get off and then go to northern state, then across the island and bop around. It's amazing. Anytime it rains, there's an accident.
You're in a Waze maze.
It's just right. It's just any time that it rains, there will be at least 3 accidents on the LIE. It's a lock. It's an absolute lock. So I got in here later than I wanted to because of the pouring rain and everything else. But
you're kind of used to it. Like
I'm used to it. Yeah,
you have like a thicker skin when it comes to like commuting and all the problems. You're annoyed, but you're not. You don't let that. You don't let that annoyance come into the radio program.
No, not the radio show, but I do bottle it up. That's the thing. It bottles up and bottles up and bottles up, and then all of a sudden there's the explosion. Like when I was about to take my gap wedge to the windshield of that guy who was riding my ass on Montauk Highway that one time. So, you bury it.
Yes.
It gets
you
buried.
Have to bury it.
Which is it's not healthy.
I mean, all you know is the guy that you're going to take that gap wedge to the windshield, he's going to pull out a gun and shoot you.
Exactly. That would be my luck. But yes, I did not do that, and I am now working on that Aaron Rodgers zen in the car. Although he said he listens to the books on tape, which a lot of people do. I can't do that. That puts me right to sleep.
Connor loves books on tape when he's driving. I can't do it either, man.
I need something, man. That's why, I listen to McMonagle now driving in. Give me a little juice. Give me a little live radio. Something,
He's juice?
He's got some juice.
He has juice at the beginning. I've heard a little bit of it at the beginning.
Yeah, a little bit of juice.
Usually later in the morning.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he's hefty and everything and he's tired.
The fact that he's hefty.
Just kind of builds up a little bit.
It does, yeah. Well, potentially. But no, you need the live radio. That's what I do.
I think if we ever do that blocking scheme again in the office, we should get him involved.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he's got a big lower half, too. He's got a big base, big calves. He could do some damage. There's no two ways about it. I'd love to see a McMonagle Big Zoo mano-y-mano in the chutes. Remember the chutes?
Yeah, the chutes, yeah.
Yeah, the chutes were great. The chutes were like these metal bars where you would get tetanus off of if you caught it the wrong way with your skin. And then they were basically built so to keep you low. So if you came up as an offensive lineman, you would hit the top of them, and then you wouldn't be able to do anything. You had to stay low. We got to get some chutes out here, put them in the Bangladesh call center, and get all the big guys up against each other, mano-y-mano.
I would love to see that. But,
yes.
The one ththing, watching Zoo in there, he's got the handwork. You could tell that he's got the moves and you got the big forearms and the big mitts for hands.
Big mitts.
Kind of like Elijah Vera-Tucker's hands yesterday. Those hands were unbelievable.
They were. And a big handshake. And then you find out that he's day-to-day, they say. But
he's got a little tweak ankle. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I hope not, because I was worried about that.
And what did I tell you? This Hard Knocks is going to be all about Carolina, the offensive line and the defensive line. It was pretty cool with the illusionist.
Yeah, in the very beginning,
that was great. That was
good. They bring in this guy. Well, so Rob Saleh called him Oz Perlman, but I don't know if I thought it was Oz Perlman, but called him Oz Perlman, and he comes in, he starts doing all these things. Now, what I can't understand, like some of the puzzle piece thing, you can kind of figure out. He did with McCole Hardman. I guess the number 10 for Michael Carter was bizarre. I don't know how they do this.
49ers and Jets in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. 31-21 and the score. But the goldfish thing was completely bizarre.
That was nuts. And did you hear in the background what would have happened had he picked giraffe?
Yeah, I did hear that. Well, I thought he might have had like a little giraffe toy. That's what I thought would have happened. Okay. Like he would have had like a giraffe toy. I don't know how there's no way that this man is a sorcerer. There has to be some sort of way that he's doing it and tricking us, and he's very good at it. But there's no way he's just like producing goldfish out of the air, Well,
all I can tell you is there were 100 men in that room last night that were completely caught off guard.
Oh, I know. And this has like been a thing in Hard Knocks over the years. Like it hasn't just been this guy last night. They had David Blaine in there years ago. They also had the John Dorenbos. Remember him? He was like the long snapper for the Eagles, did card tricks.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Training camp.
They love doing the card trick thing.
Well, training camp is monotony.
Yeah.
It's just over and over and over again. And for guys that are older, it really is just so boring. And so what the coaches try to do is they try to bring you together and they try to have some fun at your expense, whether it be a rookie show or whether it be somebody up there mimicking somebody on the team.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that kind of stuff. And, we all saw Aiden Hutchinson last year.
Yep, that's right.
He did the Michael Jackson Beat It song.
He did. That was the big part of Hard Knocks last year.
Right.
That Dan Campbell.
And that was great. Mm-hmm. So the point being is that every football team, I don't care what level you are, if you're high school, college, or the pro level, that every meeting room is like that. And the coaches are always trying to lighten the load a little bit, lighten it up a little bit, bring guys together, have some laughs, that kind of stuff. So
right, some good, clean fun, as they say.
Yeah, good, clean fun, yes.
Right.
Because, I will say that the boys on the practice field are getting tired of each other.
Yeah, and that was another big part of the episode as they were fighting, and that always happens, too. It's at some point, every team, they see each other constantly, and then all of a sudden they're getting into each other. So, we talked about Rob Saleh and how he's a guy that now that Aaron Rodgers is there, what type of role is he going to take as the big head coach, type A in the room? Is he going to still have that with Aaron Rodgers being the guy? And you saw a clip of Rob Saleh we have never seen before. In the 3 years, this is now the third year that he's been here, we've never seen him. And this is, we've also never had behind-the-scenes stuff, and it was one Jets drive. They were never going to show him like Hard Knocks does. We've never seen him that angry and rip into the team like he did with the offensive line after the Carolina practice.
Yeah, it's exactly what coaches want, believe it or not. They want a reason to yell. They want a reason to make people uncomfortable. He's trying to create an edge is what he's trying to do. So I get it. I've been there. I've seen it, and I've lived through it. And there's actually nothing funnier than when a coach is screaming at another group of guys on the team.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, or just one guy. That's another one that's hilarious.
You would like to think that the Jet offensive line, once it does finally settle out, you'd like to think that, they're going to be better because of the defensive line that they're playing against every day in practice.
Yeah, and Quinnen Williams was a big feature in this episode, how good he is, and they said the Q rating might not be as high as some other defensive linemen. It's going to be after Hard Knocks with the feature that they did, and also, more people are just going to be paying attention to how good he is, especially with the money that he made. And the Woody Johnson thing, like when Woody Johnson's standing next to Rob Saleh talking about Quinnen Williams, Woody Johnson goes, "That's a lot of money."
Well, you have a lot of money too, Mr. Johnson.
Right, exactly. You've got plenty of it, and Quinnen earned it a little bit more than you did. But it was interesting, man, and like the fact that Rob Saleh brings up the past and actually said to get the stink off the offense of this organization the last number of years.
Yes.
I mean, that was pretty intense for him, man.
Well, I actually think it's reality, and he probably has been frustrated by it because he's a defensive coach. And the other thing too, I thought Nathaniel Hackett came off really good in this particular episode because it was a little bit more. He is in charge, flipping the bird to one of the defensive players, and screaming and yelling at his offense,
right.
And you could see them working on their their play action passing and all this other stuff in their quarterback rooms. All of that stuff is like monotonous for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, sure, of course.
This for 18 years, for God's sake.
Well, but it is new for him this year. Things are different, so it is re-energized. But yeah, a lot of that same stuff for a guy like that. It's just nuts. Like, so when they were talking to Josh McCown, when Josh McCown was talking to Sauce Gardner, he's like, "Yeah, I was in the league 17, 18 years." Aaron Rodgers is still playing in the league that long. He's still
playing games.
there.
Like, Josh McCown wasn't playing games.
Right, exactly. A lot of the time he was backing up guys, and when he got opportunities, he would end up getting hurt in like the first game that he would play. Then he'd be out for several weeks. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers has played in a ton of games. So yeah, there's got to be some monotony with training camp with him, but I think that the fact that everything's new place, new players, all of that, he really does seem like he's having a good time, other than yesterday when he got out of that traffic.
Yeah, right, exactly. What's kind of amazing to me, looking around the NFL, you have two teams now that have already named their starters. Bryce Young, of course, down in Carolina, and then Anthony Richardson out in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Has anybody taken a cue from like Andy Reid?
Yeah, it's funny.
I don't understand why these guys all of a sudden, and I understand why they say it now, because they want him or that person, that young quarterback, to get all the first team reps in practice. This is how you do it. You say, okay, he's our starter. He automatically is getting first team reps. Nobody's counting reps anymore. Nobody's looking at splitting it with Gardner Minshew or Andy Dalton or any of that crap. He's the unquestioned leader of the team. But, man, I'll tell you, they haven't done that in Houston with C.J. Stroud just yet. I just wish everybody would just calm down. Because, to me, I don't know if these guys are ready yet. I mean, I know it's only their first foray into this, but they're nervous, and they have every right to be nervous. They're human, and they've never seen anything quite as quick and as, I guess, confusing to them as an NFL defense their first time out.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about at the draft with Anthony Richardson, because I loved him. I said he was going to be the next big thing at the Combine, and he ended up being the next big thing at the Combine, was he needed to sit. He needed to not play that first year because there were a lot of things about his game that you felt were raw. And now he's going to get thrown right in there because you had a couple of seasons, or at least a season, that the owner out there in Indianapolis felt was just horrendous. He's crazy, that guy, Jim Irsay, and he drafted Anthony Richardson. He wants him to end up starting, and that's what it comes down to. And there's excitement around the team, and there's going to be more tickets sold and more people excited about the rookie quarterback as opposed to, guys like Gardner Minshew and, of course, Andy Dalton down in Carolina. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. So it's not necessarily fair to the player, because we've seen it both ways. I mean, we've seen guys go in there and play really, really well like Joe Burrow, and we've seen guys go in there and get chewed up and spit out like Zach Wilson.
But even Joe Burrow got hurt. He blew out his knee his rookie year. And he was older. He was an older guy.
Right.
Anthony Richardson didn't play that much at Florida.
I know.
I just feel like they rush these guys for all the wrong reasons. And the wrong reasons are selling tickets and sponsorships and all that other stuff. When young, raw athletes, they just need time. And it'll be interesting to see what the first month of the season looks like for the Carolina Panthers, for the Colts, and most likely the Houston Texans. They're most likely going to play C.J. Stroud, but C.J. Stroud looked completely overwhelmed in his first foray. Yeah. So he'll get better, and they'll calm down, and they'll understand that they belong, and they'll start seeing things a little bit clearer. But right now, I think all three are just really struggling.
Yeah, and Anthony Richardson will do amazing things. All of those guys do amazing things athletically from time to time. But there's going to be those situations where they're just going to be overwhelmed by great defensive coaches. They're going to put them in tough spots, as you well know, when you started some games right out of
Dude, I had no idea what was going on. I mean, I had my 30 plays, and I looked for Chris Collinsworth. And I think I ended his career about 2 years early, my rookie year.
Yeah.
Like, he probably could have played until like 1991 or something like that, but he ended up retiring, I think, in 1989 because of the rookie year in 1984, where I played 4 games and almost got him killed.
Hung him out to dry, huh?
Oh, God, I told you, I sent a massage therapist over to his house and he turned her down. He said, no, nobody can touch this body. He was so beat up, man. He had welts and bruises everywhere.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, that's all I was doing. I was like, man, that's Chris Collinsworth. I'm just going to throw it to him. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. I was completely
At least you had a guy like that.
And your man, Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years.
I know.
Think about that for a second.
I mean, Patrick, I know. It's sort of like Jordan Love. Patrick Mahomes sat for a year. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. I mean, that's why when you talk about Aaron Rodgers in terms of how long he's been in the league, you got to remember that there was 3 years in the beginning he didn't even play.
How frustrated he must have been back then.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about the numbers, too, he could have put up. But who knows? I mean, maybe he wouldn't have been as good if he didn't sit for that long. You don't know.
And didn't watch Brett Favre do it the way he did it.
Right.
So, I mean, Aaron is so much smoother and more aligned with what expectations of the coaches are, as opposed to Brett Favre just letting it rip.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing why people I don't like when the comparisons that I've heard with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, to me, are bad comparisons. Meaning it's Brett Favre. We did this with Brett Favre before. No, absolutely not.
Totally different personality.
Yes, and the other
different
thing,
coach too, different coaching staff, and a lot of different things about this situation that don't line up with that situation.
Right, and another one is, look what happened when the Mets tried to put a super team together, the Nets tried to put a super team together. Those aren't the examples you use in different sports. The example you use just happened a couple years ago. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That worked, and it was the same type of thing. He came in when there was a breakup between him and a longtime team, and also he brought in Leonard Fournette, and they brought in Rob Gronkowski, and they brought in Antonio Brown. They were doing the same thing the Jets did.
And they had a really good defense. They just weren't very good offensively because Jameis Winston was turning the ball over.
Yeah, and they went and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly,
So,
and they went to the playoffs.
If anybody wants to make a comparison to something that happened in the past that's similar to this, make that one.
Well, that's the roadmap for success because, like I told you yesterday, defensive line, they're deep just like the Bucs were. Wide receiver, they're deep just like the Bucs were. They just added Dalvin Cook, much like the Bucs added Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
I mean, their running back room is deep. And I know that those guys are probably – they're going to welcome Dalvin, but who might not be here for another week. But I got to believe that there's got to be a sense of pride in that room that they feel like maybe the – coaching staff and the general manager in this case, don't really believe in us. So it's probably going to elevate those guys as well, like a Michael Carter and a Zonovan Knight, and all
one of those guys might get traded too.
Could.
I mean, because they're not going to make it through the practice squad. They're too talented, especially a guy like Michael Carter. All those guys, except for the rookie, have played and have had significant snaps in the league. So they're on tape. There's no way they're going to make it through the practice squad. They're going to have to trade him, try to get something back for someone like Michael Carter. Like that would not surprise me at all if he ended up on the trading block and got more opportunity elsewhere. All right, it is Boomer and Gio just getting started on this Wednesday morning on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Get reunited with Jerry Recco coming up next as he is in the building and give you an update.